Yes, dear students, now again we are here to discuss about the weavers and the craft person at that time. So, up to now we have discussed how the Britishers they turned themselves when they came here for the purchasing of spices and things, means cotton and silk, but later on they have changed themselves into uh, selling of Britain goods. Yes, my dear student, who are the weavers? So, weavers often belong to communities that specialized in weaving. If you look at the figure here, figure 9, a person is weaving the cloth. This one. A Tanti weaver of Bengal. They belong to the communities that specialized in weaving. Their skills were passed from one generation to the next. The Tanti weavers of Bengal, the Julas or Momain weavers of North India. These were the weavers. I'm highlighting the community of the weavers. Koi Kolar Devangs of South India. These are some of the famous weaving communities. First of all, dear student, the first you can say the first unit of the production was spinning of thread. Okay, I am telling you in a small time that how the weaving was done. First of all, from a cotton flower, means from a cotton bud, a thread was spinned on the spindles. Then from that thread, the weavers they used to make cloth, and also they draw the different types of motifs and design on the same cloth. Yes, my dear students, still we are having the weavers in South India, those who are weaving the clothes with their own hands. And if I just tell you about the price, you will be surprised to know that one hand woven sari cost more than 1.5 lakh. Yes, my dear students, 1.5 lakh. The sari is woven by hand, but it can't be woven in 1 or 2 days. Maybe 3 months to 6 months they are required to weave such kind of saris or clothes. So, a work was done mostly by women for the spinning of thread. The charkha, with the help of charkha and takli, were household spinning instruments. The thread was spun on the charkha and rolled on a takli. I'm just highlighting the words. Charkha, takli. When the spinning was over, the thread was woven into a cloth by a weaver, as I have told you. So, in most of the communities, weaving was a task done by a man. Okay, it was done by a man, but whole family they were included in that production. As it is written here also that the woman they spinning the charkha and weaving the thread, spinning the thread. Then the men they weave the clothes, and then the same cloth, the thread or maybe the thread on also they were dyed by the dyer also. It was known as the rangares. And for printed cloth, the weavers needed to help the specialist block printers. Some of the wooden blocks they made, maybe with the help of the motifs of some flowers, plants, or different motifs they select. Then they dip that wooden block in color, and then with the pressure they put that block on that cloth, and then the block was pressed, and then motif was there on the cloth. So like this they were in the habit of making different types of clothes. So for printed cloth, the weavers needed to help the specialist block printers known as the chipigars, a community of dyers, you can say, those who were do the block printing at that time. So decline of Indian textile. As you know that industrial revolution was there in Britain, dear students. So because the cloth which was produced through the machineries, it was fine, and it was of many different colors, of you can say, and fine texture also. And definitely, as I have told you in my previous paragraph, that the hand woven clothes took more time to complete, so the machinery made clothes, it were easier to produce, means a large number of things or clothes were produced due to the industrialization. So the Indian markets, they were uneasy to compete with British machinery made clothes. Secondly, exporting textile to England also became increasingly different. Yes, my dear students, as I have told you that the English person or the English trader, they also convinced the British government to stop the import of the Indian textile. Third thing, when the Britishers, they started controlling over the territories in India, so they put high duties on the export of the Indian goods from here, from India, and they remove the duty from the products those who are coming from the Britain. So again, double they were having the profit. The duty was removed on the import of the goods, and heavy duty was imposed on the export of the goods. So the goods those who are exported in other countries, they become okay, I'm writing here so it will be easier to understand. Heavy duties were imposed on export goods. No duties or less duties were there in import goods. It becomes costly, cheaper. So this was a difference. So by and by, that there was decline in the Indian goods, and there was a hike in the Britain goods. Thousands of weavers in India were now thrown out of their employment. Means they lost their livelihood. They stopped purchasing. They stopped purchasing the thread, and they stopped weaving the clothes. But worse was still to come. By the 1830, British cotton cloth flooded Indian market. So two-thirds of all the cotton clothes worn by Indians were made or were produced in India. How much? Two-thirds. This affected not only the weavers also, but also the spinners also. Thousands of men and women, they lost their livelihood. But still, some weavers, they were making the clothes, because some type of clothes they could not be supplied, could not be made by the machines. But again, I've told you that Indian markets, they were flooded by the British goods, and the Indian weavers lost their livelihood. A great setback to Indian weavers. So dear student, this is all for the day, and rest of the things we will discuss tomorrow.